Hello, and welcome back to the Velvet Room. I am Calluna, an attendant of Master Igor, here to oversee the Persona Compendium. Once again, we will be discussing a popular figure from Greek mythology, the god Hermes. Turn back now if you wish to avoid spoilers for the events of Persona 3. So, shall you join me for another story today? Let us spin a tale.
Hermes, known to the Romans as Mercury, was one of the 12 supreme gods in Olympus. Hermes appears quite frequently in Greek myth, as he was the messenger of the gods and often appeared before several heroes. The son of Zeus and Maia, one of the daughters of the Titan Atlas, from the day he was born he showed signs of cunning, intelligence, and trickery. The day he was born, Hermes escaped from his crib and stole cattle from the god Apollo. In exchange, Hermes invented the lyre, which he gifted to Apollo, who would later pass on to the musician Orpheus. Zeus was so impressed with Hermes that he named him the messenger of the gods and granted him a place among the other 11 supreme gods of Olympus. As the messenger of the gods, Hermes was sent on numerous missions by Zeus. He saves Odysseus several times, first by giving him an antidote to protect him from the sorceress Circe's magic, then again by telling Calypso to return Odysseus to his homeland after he has been trapped there for 7 years. He saved Io from Argus's watch by lulling him to sleep and killing him. He returned Persephone from the underworld after her time with Hades, and rescued the baby Dionysus after his birth. He was also charged with less admirable tasks, such as trapping Prometheus on Mount Caucasus, where he would spend each day having his liver eaten by vultures, only for it to grow back by the next day and repeat the process. Hermes was a god associated with numerous traits due to his large presence in Greek myth. He represented cunning, intelligence, commerce, trade, travelers, athletics, literature, invention, thieves, and liars. Due to such a plethora of traits, Hermes' personality varies from myth to myth. The trait that tends to be the most consistent is his cunning. Depending on the story, it can be seen as helpful to those in need, or frustrating to those he is deceiving. Due to his role as the messenger, Hermes was worshipped most frequently as a god of travelers, so it was also his duty to guide souls to the land of the dead. Hermes was depicted with several items. A winged cap, usually associated with farmers and travelers, became a common symbol of Hermes. He also had winged sandals, which allowed him to fly as swiftly as a bird. The hero Perseus was given these sandals in order to defeat the Gorgon Medusa. Hermes wields the caduceus, a staff with 2 intertwining snakes and wings. It was said to wake the sleeping and put to sleep the waking, as well as allow a peaceful death, or even sometimes revive the dead. Overall, Hermes was a multi-talented god who was one of the most commonly worshipped of the 12 supreme deities, due to how much he represents. He is the youngest of the 12, and often depicted as quick-witted but playful and deceptive. His gifts to Pandora were lies, seductive words, and dubious character. A trickster whose whims were as changing as the wind, Hermes' iconography is one of the most memorable even to this day. Junpei Iori wields Hermes as his initial persona. Although he is not the youngest member of SEAS, Junpei is often seen as the most immature. He comes across as the class clown, cracking jokes and often trying to flirt with women, though it usually doesn't work out for him. Junpei also has a bit of a perverted sense of humor, which often gets him in trouble with Yukari and the other female members of the team. He can be kind, though, and tries to use humor to help alleviate bad situations. Junpei can be quite reckless, charging headfirst into battle without thinking about the consequences. Junpei can be lazy when it comes to school, though later on when he actually applies himself, his scores improve considerably. Junpei is a big fan of sports, particularly baseball, which could explain him always wearing a baseball cap, as well as the way he wields swords in Tartarus. His hat could also be a reference to Hermes, who is known for wearing the winged cap. Junpei befriends Chidori, one of the members of Strega, and boasts about being a hero who fights during the Dark Hour, which makes Chidori believe that Junpei is the group leader of SEAS. She kidnaps him in an attempt to stop the SEAS group, but is captured herself and hospitalized due to her not being able to fully control her persona. Junpei visits Chidori often and begins to open up to her. His class clown persona is an act he puts on to hide his own insecurities. He believes the persona power is the only thing that makes him special, but even then he isn't the best at it compared to some of the other SEAS members. He was so eager to fight shadows because it made him feel like a hero. Plus, moving into the student dorms meant he could get away from his abusive, alcoholic father. Junpei sees sadness as a weakness, which is why he constantly tries to put on a comedic facade. Later, after Chidori's former teammates break her out of the hospital, Chidori faces Junpei's group and admits she's afraid of her growing attachment to Junpei. Takaya shoots and kills Junpei in front of her, but Chidori uses her persona's powers to revive him at the cost of her own life. Junpei is devastated and angered when Takaya says that Chidori's death was meaningless. Hermes combines with Chidori's persona, Medea, to become Trismegistus. Later, he is given her a sketchbook from her time in the hospital, and it gives him the kick he needs to fight alongside with everyone again. On the surface, Hermes shares some qualities with Junpei. The joking, the athleticism, and the quick-to-action nature are all parts of Hermes. However, like Junpei, there are more sides to Hermes that could be attributed to Junpei as well. He only shows a small piece of himself on the outside, when on the inside he's actually more emotionally complicated. He doesn't like that our guest was the one who became the leader of Seas, and Junpei often sees himself as a sidekick. This could be a possible reference to how Hermes was used as a messenger so often for Zeus and the other Olympians. Junpei feels like an errand boy. He wants to be the leader because he believes that it will give him a better sense of identity, without realizing that there's a lot more to him than even he knows. One might think it strange that a god who represents quick wit and intelligence would be given to Junpei, who makes lots of perverted jokes and hates school. However, when Junpei actually has a proper motivation for studying and tries, he gets fairly high marks, surprising even himself. Hermes, as a trickster god, does also have his moments of perversion, so it actually does fit with Junpei's personality. Though there aren't too many specific myths of Hermes that match Junpei's story, like some of the other members of Seas, Junpei does embody several traits matching Hermes and the large variety of depictions there are of him. The closest myth that Junpei embodies is bringing Persephone out of the underworld. Chidori does not care about living or dying until she befriends Junpei, and it's his visits that help her to come to life again in a way. Junpei, like Hermes leading Persephone, allows Chidori the chance to live her own life. Hermes' persona design does evoke some images from the myths. He is wearing a winged cap, and the wings on its feet are to evoke the winged sandals. However, the wings are large and prominent, to indicate more of the physical power that Hermes has here. He does not wield his caduceus staff like in earlier iterations, and this reflects how Hermes has a mix of both magic and physical attacks. Hermes uses fire magic, which is more of a reflection of Junpei's personality, representing passion, energy, and a lack of control. He is weak to wind, at first an odd choice for a god who can fly, but also if wind is too strong, he could be pulled away with it. Hermes is part of the Magician Arcana, which matches Junpei's personality. It represents action, initiative, immaturity, self-confidence, and power, and it is often being wielded by a second-in-command character within the hero's group. Often that self-confidence is seen as a projection used to hide insecurity, which we've seen matches Junpei's personality quite significantly. Hermes' coloring is interesting. The gold color of the wings could represent the divine nature of Hermes as an Olympian, but the other colors, a muted orange and black, suggest more of a somber attitude. The eye is drawn to the brighter colors first, but when looking at the bigger picture, overall more is dark. This could be a representation of Junpei's attempt to hide his negative emotions with humor. Lastly, there was a small H as the buckle for the name Hermes. When Hermes evolves into Trismegistus, the overall shape remains mostly the same, with additional wings, a new color palette, and the head changing shape. The bright red color evokes the color of Medea, to show how her persona has blended into Hermes, and how Chidori has affected Junpei's psyche. Hermes Trismegistus was supposedly the father of alchemy, astrology, and magic, who was associated with both Hermes and the Egyptian god of wisdom, Thoth. Thoth has the head of an ibis, which explains Trismegistus now displaying a bird's head. Trismegistus the persona was born when two personas were fused together, just as Hermes Trismegistus the philosopher was derived from both Hermes and Thoth. The bird head can also refer to one of Hermes Trismegistus's life goals, the creation of the Philosopher's Stone. In one text, the Ripley Scroll, one of the stages for creating the Philosopher's Stone is called the Bird of Hermes, a golden phoenix that represented powerful vapors created from the stone. The stone is bright red in color, just like the orb within the mouth of Trismegistus's persona. The additional wings he gains could also be a reference to the phoenix. Like an alchemical reaction, Hermes changes from one form to another. gaining additional magical abilities thanks to Chidori's sacrifice. Trismegistus gains an additional passive skill, Spring of Life, in which Junpei would gain a small amount of HP back each turn. Chidori's promise to keep Junpei alive lives on within this skill. Overall, Junpei's initial persona helps to show how complex Junpei is once you peel back the layers. He is fun, quick to action, and a bit of an idiot at times, but he is a compassionate and caring person who hides deep insecurities about his own abilities. He feels like the second in command, and often clashes with our guest when it comes to strategy, feeling much like Hermes in how often he is relegated to just an errand boy. Through his talks with Chidori, Junpei opens up more and realizes he doesn't need to hide his pain. It isn't a sign of weakness to recognize you can't handle everything yourself. Junpei is revived thanks to Chidori, and he wants to live on for her sake. Urged by Chidori's sketchbook, Junpei fights with everyone to stop Nyx from destroying the world.
Thank you for joining me here in the Velvet Room. I hope you have enjoyed your stay here. Feel free to return again, and we can read more from the compendium. If you believe our social bond has grown, have it take the form of a like or subscribe. My name is Calluna, and I look forward to your next visit.
Hey everyone! I wanted to take this opportunity to give a quick reminder about how Patreon works. It's a website that allows you to pledge a certain amount of money per month to your favorite content creators, allowing us to actually make a career out of this. Depending on how much you pledge, you get a variety of rewards in exchange. Some of my rewards for you include having your name in the credits, joining my Discord chat room, and getting early access to my videos. Or, at the highest tier, you can even choose something for me to review. Every little bit counts, so even if you can only do $1, that really builds up over time and helps me to make this show even better. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.